What's going down?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. We brought in the expert this morning. Matt and I have decided that we don't know what we're talking about. Now, Brett's been working since probably 4 o'clock this morning. So
Yeah.
Brett gets in early. He's been looking at the forecast, and we're trying to find the data that is most suitable, most agreeable with current ongoing situation. If you've been watching the last few days, what we talked about is the morning of this will be probably the most telling. It'll be more of a game time decision with this today, and that's exactly what's happening. And I will tell you, I'll be the first to tell you that I believe that there are going to be some pretty large adjustments today from the Storm Prediction Center. I believe some of these threats are shifting dramatically south. We're going to discuss this in detail, but this cluster that we see, and I am going to share my screen just real quick so folks can see what I'm talking about. This cluster that we see here in Iowa is going to really, what I would say, muddy the water a little bit.
Yeah.
And the downstream effects of this, it's going to make it tricky. Not in a sense of that we really aren't going to know what's going on, but I think it's more so just going to be tricky with how long this wave can sustain and last. Because right now it's packing a punch in eastern Iowa.
Yeah.
And then after this wave, how quickly does the atmosphere recover behind it? And are we going to be able to refire later for storms to, get strong to possibly significantly severe tonight? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow Brett to share his screen, talk about the mod choice right now, some of the reasoning behind that, and we can get into timing and discussion of forward progression and basically the thought process here. So let's get right into it. Brett, what do you got for us?
Yeah, let me switch over here and share my screen. We've been diving into models, all day long, all morning long. I guess it's only 7:30, right? But for the last 3.5 hours or so, we've been diving into all of the models under the sun, trying to figure out which model is handling, especially this AM wave, the best. Because as you mentioned, Michael, not only where exactly it tracks is going to impact things this evening, but how fast it moves across the area. Because if this thing slows down, it's going to make it that much more difficult to get redevelopment, especially further to the north as we work into the afternoon and evening hours today. If we speed this up, there's more time for recovery, and your severe weather threat, your tornado threat, gets more potent in a little bit more of a widespread fashion, in my opinion, and perhaps we can recover a little bit further to the north. I think that this model is the best overall blend of the ideas of the speed and the overall progression of this cluster, and as a result, it's going to do the best with the evening wave as well. And so what we're going to see here over the next couple of hours, this is by about 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, is a cluster of storms pushing across central and northern portions of Illinois. And I think that in Illinois, this cluster has the potential, for those watching out there, of producing 60 to 70 plus mile per hour wind gusts, probably some embedded tornadoes, large hail, heavy rain, and lightning. And then as it approaches the Indiana border, it starts to weaken a little bit, but I still think this is by about 2 o'clock approaching the Indianapolis metro area, if not even a little bit before that. Probably going to have the risk for strong to severe storms in central and northern Indiana as this moves through early this afternoon. I think especially on the south side too, guys, an embedded tornado risk with this cluster, some little spin ups being possible. What you will start to note as we go into wave number 2, as this cluster exits, Note how there's a little bit of a struggle to clear out across eastern and northern portions of Indiana. And so your main storm development sets up more across central Illinois and west central Indiana. And so the northern half of the state has a little bit less time to recover and see more intense supercells and rotating storms develop. That's not to say that there's no severe weather up there at all. There's plenty of wind energy. I think wind may ultimately end up being just as big, if not a bigger threat across the board than tornadic activity. But we're a little more clear from central Indiana and points down to the south. And I think that ultimately that can mean kind of I-70 corridor ends up being the spot and points down to the south that has the highest risk for some of these discrete supercells and tornadic risk. And then even as this congeals into a line down in southern Indiana, I would not be shocked. This is by about midnight. So Indianapolis here, this is about 10 p.m. Midnight, Bloomington, Columbus, Seymour, 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts. And that continues, guys, all the way down towards the Ohio River and probably a tornado threat along that line as well.
Yeah, Brett, I think, interestingly enough, with respect to kind of everything that you've just said, what I would like to do real quick is go back to my screen share. If you'll turn yours here, I'll go ahead and remove yours.
Yep.
But one thing I wanted to pull up, and for some reason, guys, if my screen looks blurry, and I think it's because I'm a big, really big dumb idiot, and I used Chrome to do my stream with, which I told myself I was not allowed to do. And Chrome just does not stream as high a quality as Safari does, so I apologize for the blurry screen. But nothing I can do about it at this point. I'm going to have to delete Chrome from my computer. But the outlook today that the SPC has for the moderate risk for primarily this is at risk for tornadoes, by the way. I personally believe right now, and Matt and Brett, you guys can stop me at any time if you don't agree. I personally believe that this should not be there, and I think that this should be probably more in here for that.
Yeah, I 100%.
I think it needs to come south. This out here is the caveat for that. Now, again, I will tell you, I am abnormally lower confidence in this particular, basically everything I'm saying. I am uncertain because another thing that I found interesting, Matt, you were on a call last night in a briefing with the Storm Prediction Center, and you had heard that this was the strongest. What was it that you had said? Strongest mid-level jet in June?
Yeah, so in June, the strongest low-level jet ever recorded was around 50 knots. And so anything we see above 50 knots would be a record for this time of the year, which about every single model under the sun has a 50-plus low-level jet. And when we talk about low-level jet, that's the really strong winds about 5,000 feet above the surface. Every model has it. And so we've talked about before in some of the past streams too, the record low strength of this upcoming system. And now we've got, record high winds up in the atmosphere. It's going to be very dynamic. It's going to help add and the wind threat that you mentioned, Brett, and it's going to help aid in the spin threat as well. I think what we're discussing, right, is where ultimately is that highest risk area, right? We're not necessarily debating severity per se, but where does that set up?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Matt, I'm looking at the low-level jet forecast on the latest HRRR model. It gets it up to 75 knots in central Indiana, so you're not just breaking the record, you're obliterating it for this time of the year.
Yeah.
And anytime you get a low-level jet that strong and you get thunderstorms that are producing heavy rain, you're going to have the tendency to bring those winds down to the surface. And so when we talk about the overall severe weather threat today, 70 to 80 plus mile per hour wind gusts, that can do plenty of damage on its own outside of the tornado threat, and that probably ends up being the most widespread concern overall.
I think as we get to this, it's in the afternoon around 2-3 p.m. We're gonna have a really good idea on the southern edge where the instability has built in, and we're gonna have a really good idea at that point. Until then, we gotta see how this first system unfolds through the morning into the afternoon.
Guys,
But
here-
I'm with you, Michael. We've got some issues on the northern edge of this.
Yeah, and here is the latest NATO cast, which is just a tool that utilizes different variables from the HREF, the High Resolution Ensemble Forecast System. And this is a calibrated version of what it has, and it's a little south. It looks exactly kind of like what our early morning thoughts were.
Mhm.
And again, I don't want to say that this cannot happen. I think the general takeaway right now is we need a little bit more time to really come up with a more solidified solution of where that's going to be tonight. Because you look at this, that's the wind right now.
Yeah.
And so that cluster out ahead and the formation of any thunderstorm that can bring down 80 knot winds from 5,000 feet, which is what this is seeing, if you ask me. It's basically saying that there's a high chance for widespread damaging wind event. I don't have any disagreement with that.
I think that's highly likely.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree pretty good confidence in the wind threat with this.
So the Storm Prediction Center, just so you all are aware, those of you watching, outlooks, they are the severe storms forecast branch, the arm of the National Weather Service. That's what they do is they issue these outlooks. They will come up with their next day one outlook. I believe is scheduled to come out here in an hour and 15 minutes. At 9 a.m., I believe. And I believe on that new update, we will see a shift in south and a shift in the, I think we take this tornado threat primarily and shift that a little bit as well. Go ahead, Brad.
I would say their wind map is underdone.
That's what I was going to say,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to be subjective. So
I just think that this type of a setup just favors wind. And I'm not sure if it's being talked about enough. I know we've talked about it a lot, but that can cause plenty of damage on its own. But I agree with you, Michael. I think that it needs to come further south. I'm looking at our map that we made this morning that was on the BAM Weather app, and I think I could even tick that another county or two further south as well in terms of the highest risk for tornadoes overall. Regardless, the environment is there for severe weather. There's no doubt about that. This is a very, very rare setup, one that, especially in June, we don't get. And it's just a matter of the placement, I think.
Yeah.
And whether the dynamics come together perfectly for stronger tornadoes.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, I was looking at this too, and this is still, suggestive of a pretty nasty. And someone made a nice graphic here. I don't know, Caleb Dupp. I don't know who you are. This is the forecast. If you took storm netted it as a
Interesting
realistic outcome, I am having a hard time agreeing. And perhaps these models, like you said, with this rare June setup, these models are seeing perhaps things that I'm not. That maybe they are thinking we just recovered just that much faster. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. So what I would say is, looking at it's 8 a.m. right now. There's 10Z. It's this HRRR is behind by several hundred miles or 100 miles at least. What I would say is getting this through and seeing this redevelop on the backside here. This is going to be the key. If the first wave, let's say, because the HRRR guys is moving it out, not until 6. Let's say it's 2 hours slow and we move it out at 4. Okay. Let's say hypothetically, this is 4 p.m. We're ignoring the time that the model is saying because the model is off, which is not something that we don't do normally anyways. The low level jet is clearing this out. We're pumping in instability and dynamics, and the front is here now. This is our lifting mechanism. That's the cold front. Perhaps this is, hypothetically, this is 4 p.m. Humor me. And we can see where perhaps the development would mature by 6 p.m., 7, 8 p.m., 8, 9, 10 p.m. In this general area here, you could argue that based on just simple sim radar analysis, just for the folks, the sake for the folks watching, again, that is more something like this. Now, with that said, let's look at the dynamic of the 10Z HRRR. Again, assuming timing is off, but the significant tornado parameter is generally matching what I'm saying here. With the exception, I might not have gone far south enough for the nighttime stuff. There may be a tornado threat in southern Indiana tonight. But that, guys, this here is dramatically different. Let's look at the trend of the last several runs. See how different that is? I mean, we are shifting that south dramatically on the trend of the HRRR.
Wow.
So, and again, I know there's some complaints about my quality of sound and video. I apologize. I used the wrong browser. I know I'm clipping and going in and out, and it's blurry. I will delete Google Chrome after this, I promise. I am a large idiot. I
was going to say, Michael, if you want me to take over, I can.
Yeah, Brett, why don't you take over and talk about the what I'm seeing too, here's quickly on this trend, is a southerly trend in the low level jet as well. But I'm going to let Brett take over so the quality's a little bit better.
All right, yeah. So let me go look at that low level jet here. This is what I was looking at earlier. So this was the 6C run where it's got an 80 knot low level jet. But let's look at the trend on this over the past several runs. So this was 0Z, 6Z, 7Z, 8Z. You can see it's a little weaker as well, but note especially in this corridor in here, which indicates your warm front is trending further south than it was.
Which Brett, I think the progression and the advection of warm fronts and that isentropic lift of the natural nature of a warm front follows instability gradients a lot. I think it's going to have a hard time going well north of no freaking Cape at all. And those morning storms are going to zap the hell out of that, because even if it doesn't rain further north, there's still a huge cloud shield that is limiting sunshine.
And here's your sim radar trend. So 0Z, 6Z, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it has progressively ticked further and further south with these runs. Now, you could still see kind of just these cells have the look, right? There are certainly some cells in here that have signals of rotation. You can almost see some of the little hooks on them. But if we're initializing things in here, then further north in this corridor where the SPC and some of the data earlier had the higher tornado risk, it may just be a little bit more difficult, especially northern Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree. I'm very curious, guys, to see the 9 a.m. SPC. Surely to goodness they're noticing the same things. I would imagine. I don't know how they wouldn't be. And especially just with the latest trend in the dynamics here. Brett, I'm curious on that STP and just in general out ahead of the development. What does a couple of SKUTs look like on this run? And more interestingly, CAPE and lapse rates. How are we looking with CAPE and lapse rates with this stuff?
So I'll go just west of Indy here. And the photographs, so in this here, in the top right quadrant, that's what we call a hodograph. And it's basically mapping out the wind speed and direction throughout the duration of the atmosphere. And anytime you see a big curve like that, where you see this pink line to the red line, it's indicating a lot of wind shear. It's what we look for when we're forecasting tornadoes. Now, the downside to this particular sounding in general, the SKUT, there's 48 knots of surface to 1 kilometer shear and only 650 surface-based CAPE. So you run into a little bit of an issue of how well can the updrafts sustain themselves with such strong wind shear. Again, I still think with this type of a setup, you're going to have the potential to bring some of those strong wind gusts aloft down to the surface, but there's a little bit of a question from the tornado standpoint of just, is there too much wind?
Brett, play devil's advocate and go to the
Sure.
6 p.m. Go back 2 hours and click on that SKUT. And I'm wondering out ahead. Let's see, that's 6. Go to 7 maybe. Just trying to get a
7, 8.
lapse rates are perhaps that's right in front of the line there at 7, right in front of the development.
Not
Yeah,
terrible.
that's not bad. 7.
7.5, 700 to 500.
Yeah, and then mixed layer CAPE's 1,000. What is your surface to 1 kilometer EHI there? 2.6, 41 knots, 41 shear in the. I mean, yeah, it's what Brett is saying is what you want to imagine as that wind, that parcel of air goes up into the atmosphere with height, so it rises from the surface up. The strong wind shear can basically shred apart the updraft, preventing the thunderstorm from being organized and stronger. Now, it depends on what that may be great news for a lot of people. People may not want all this severe weather. So, in context, that's we're seeing one of the fail factors possibly here. Now, again, 1,000 mixed layer CAPE might be enough. I don't know. It's one of these things where it's just going to be borderline, where there could be a period tonight where there's 10 tornado warnings for 2 hours. And there could be a period where there's 1 or 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting too, with the instability. I'm looking at this 10Z run of the HRRR we're looking at. It brings in dew points. It pulls the dew points out ahead around 8 to 10, Brett. They get up to 70. It tries to see some pooling of some really high dew points. And that's another signal we can look at with these severe weather events, where we see that kind of brighter shade of pink, where that pooling of the moisture could even be a more of an elevated threat for severe weather and tornadoes.
Brett, go to the.
I mean, it's
Brett,
72
go to
in
this.
Indy.
Yeah, go and do a side by side on that with the STP.
Yeah,
and I think what I want to illustrate here is where that pooling is taking place, where those higher dew points can come in when storms develop. that's a lot of times where we'll find tornado development is where the pooling can happen of dew points. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking you should do. Yep. And you can see those those brighter pinks and purples showing up. Again, that's just based off of this run of the HRRR, but
Right.
something along the lines of
It's kind of
yeah.
funky, but
Which,
Yeah, I
Brett,
mean,
that
generally.
kind of looks like your map from this morning.
it does. You know, it does. The dews do try to pull a little bit further north at first. I think it's just time.
The dews
You know,
do.
figure out the dews do. So just based off of that alone, this corridor in here, perhaps the highest tornado threat overall, just off that alone.
Mhm.
I did want to mention real quick because there were some questions about the first wave. I was showing earlier a little skew T for 2 to 3 p.m. I do think that there's the potential for some spin ups on the southern edge of that first cluster. I wouldn't
Mhm.
rule that out because when I was looking, there was over 1,000 joules per kilogram of surface based CAPE, and there was 25 knots of surface to 1 kilometer shear. That's not a bad setup for some tornado risk early this afternoon with the first cluster on the south side of it. And so just to briefly go back on that, because I don't want to completely ignore that, kind of through here, almost the exact same spot, but on the south side, I just wouldn't be shocked to see a couple of tornado warnings in there early this afternoon on the south side of the cluster.
Brett, I'm
Yeah.
going to send you. I just spent a little bit of time mapping out the leading edge of round one. I'm getting 51 miles per hour right now. I'm going to send you what that looks like on leading edge of timing, and you can share that with the
Okay.
people. And I'm gonna indicate just a little bit of a southerly dive with the thickness gradient here. Finish that. I'm getting an ETA and Indy at basically 1 p.m. And then you can kind of show folks that graphic since my sharing abilities are poopy, a little poopy. Let's see. Latest timing here, just based on current movement, and again, this probably speeding up a little bit. Due to the low-level jet and just the stuff getting up and running. But if that were to be the case, if it's in Indy by 1 o'clock, that is 3 hours faster than the HRRR, by the way.
Yeah. Which
So
could give
I
us
just
some
sent it
more.
to you, Brett. It's in the text.
Could give us a little bit more time. Could give us a little bit more time to recover. Let me save this and then drag it over.
And what we're talking about is the leading edge of that out there.
Yeah, so
and
here's the
it's,
cluster right now, and here's what Michael mapped out via the BAM weather app.
Yeah.
So,
So-
12:59, Muncie, 1:30, kind of on the border around 11:30 or so.
Yeah. And again, that would put the backside out of here by 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock maybe. I don't know. It depends on, does the roaring low-level jet clear up a lot of the BS in this cluster and clear it out faster? That's the probability of that is high, but I think we're just going to need a 1 p.m. ish reanalysis of everything, which we'll be doing all day in the BAM app anyways.
I agree.
yeah.
Look how far southeast this cluster is diving right now.
It's cold pooling all the hell right now.
Yep.
So
It's gnarly.
It does make me wonder too, just given the fact that it's faster than the data, the low-level jet in terms of lifting it north, not kicking in as much. This thing could go even further south than any of the models have right now. I think it will have the tendency to kind of lift northward with time. Maybe not a southwest to northeast movement, but you get what we call some thermal expansion, daytime temperatures warm up, low-level jet should allow this to kind of start to move a little bit more west to east with time. But right now, it is nose diving towards Burlington, Peoria, and maybe even Springfield, Illinois.
Yeah, I was just looking at the real quick here, upper air. Yeah, I do think, Brett, the daytime heating and the thicknesses should expand. And the flow aloft would match the general eastward propagation as the thicknesses increase.
Yeah.
I need a thicknesses. We don't have thicknesses on.
I think too, Brett, as it does maybe outrun the low level jet a little
So
bit,
sick of Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
that would also favor a little bit more of a west-east movement as
Yep.
well.
For sure. For sure. And I would say, based off the setup, in terms of the strongest wind gusts this morning, probably along and west of this line was what I was looking at earlier, because it outruns the low level jet a little bit. So you lose a little bit of our wind forcing for a time. But as this moves across central Illinois, I mean, there's going to be some 70+ mile per hour wind gusts in here. There was a warning earlier in Iowa for 90 mile per hour wind gusts. And we'll
Yeah.
need to watch along the line too as this continues to organize itself for some notches and again that spin up tornado risk.
Yeah.
Brett, real quick, I'll share this, even though
Yeah.
my sharing is poopy. This is kind of what we're talking about as it pertains to the thicknesses. You want to watch these colors expand north and east. These are basically just temperature gradients for the most part. Just keep it simple. But that 575-ish thickness area, as we expand with time, 570 to 575, should support this starting to turn more east.
Mm-hmm.
As it comes that way. The 11Z is coming in right now. It is still initializing rather poorly, but perhaps better with placement.
Better than the last run, I think.
So
Still an hour slow at least.
Yeah, but maybe we're getting some. I'll tell you what. Let's watch just this come in for a couple of minutes and then wrap up this particular live, and just kind of discuss what the 11Z does. Give everybody a general takeaway from the 10 and 11Z analysis that we've done here, and then we'll take this one and we'll wait for the next one to wait for the next live here a little later today. See what this does to. Here's 2 p.m. So again, this is just I don't even know if you just can't. I just don't think this is even useful because I have the leading edge from radar analysis right now. I have it right here at 1 p.m. It has it almost 150 miles. It's bad. It's bad data. That's bad
the
data.
The 0Z run was, I'm just looking back, Michael, it's better. I mean, it's still slow, but it's better than the new runs.
Yeah, it's definitely a little.
It's further south
closer.
And it's a little faster. It's not great, but it's better.
Mm-hmm. And it does what the backside stuff, what we think it can do on 0Z run. Again, if we multi-panel that and we just look at our tornado threat, my concern is can it get that aggressive with I don't know. That's the $1 million question right now.
Yeah.
So the 11Z tries, but we can remove timing for the next couple minutes and just focus on analysis of the model. But otherwise, this run's coming in a little poopy.
Yep.
So, anything else you guys think worth mentioning before we start wrapping up here? I think we've pretty much covered it, but just
Yeah,
I think we've covered it. One thing too for folks, even if the shift or the threat does shift south, it's not like I think that the moderate risk where the SPC has it, it's like you're completely out of the woods for tornadoes.
Mhm.
So if you see that happen, doesn't mean you're all of a sudden out of it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I agree. I think best thing is just to check back in and be prepared for both wave 1 and wave 2, both from a wind and a tornado perspective.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I'm trying to purposely block out the time here because the timing on this is useless. But let's see. Let's take a couple questions while we just watch this come in. Is it going to hit Anderson? Yes, it is. Are Peoria, Illinois, and surrounding areas cooked? I don't know what that means. That must be like a new slang word. But if it means that you're going to get bad storms, yes, you will. It's going to storm there. What are the thoughts currently on Cincinnati? Well, I think this stuff can reach here late tonight into early tomorrow morning, early pre-dawn hours of Thursday. As the front moves through, I think a strong storm or two can happen.
Yeah.
As it comes to Cincinnati, I don't think you're out of the woods for severe weather risk tonight. A warning or two. Yep, it's going to storm in Martinsville. It is going to hit Greenwood, Indiana. You betcha. A high risk will not be issued, in my opinion.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Columbus, Indiana will be hit, yes.
Mm-hmm. Beloit will probably get bad storms overnight.
Yeah. Yep, Sarah, we don't have timing right now. That's what we've been kind of talking about. We're just trying to figure that out right now. We think the first round of thunderstorms gets in here around 1 o'clock, central Indiana-ish. Depends on where you're at.
Seen a couple questions about St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're under the gun too as the front drapes south. I think
it's not just straight line winds for St. Louis.
No, yeah, I'd say tornadoes. Large hail too out there. I would say definitely possible. Storms might be a little more broken in nature out there, but the instability is actually a little bit higher. I wouldn't be shocked if hail is even a little bit of a bigger threat out there in St. Louis. I wouldn't rule out still, guys, a long-lived tornado or two.
Cheryl asked if we slept a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I slept pretty good, really. You know, all things considered.
Seen a few folks ask about up in Michigan as well with this.
I feel like for Michigan, I mean, you can get some strong storms up there, but you're north of the warm front for the most part, so I think the tornado risk is not overly impressive up there. I think southern Michigan could have some flash flooding issues.
Some gusty winds, maybe.
Yeah, certainly. I think something we haven't really touched on out ahead of this line this evening, we're probably going to have some non-thunderstorm wind gusts of 40 to locally 50 miles an hour at times. And so non-thunderstorm wind gusts are going to be pretty elevated, which just means that the thunderstorm wind gusts can pack even a little bit more of a punch, even up there in Michigan for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a windy day outside of storms even. Any chance of snow? No.
Yes, tonight around 10.
in the form
There
of
is-
hail.
There is a snow threat. Believe it or not, we're forecasting multiple inches of snow, if you can believe it.
Probably
What
more
I'm
than we'll
just
get all winter.
what what I'm watching right now, the area I'm watching, okay, just as this model comes in, and all we're doing right now for those of you watching is we're just looking at data coming in. It's just we're just watching data. That's it. Analyzing the latest runs of the HRRR. I'm paying close attention right here, right now, out through later this afternoon. And I'm purposely trying to cover up the time because I don't agree with any of the timing. But I am trying to just see what the model is going to do with the environment. This is the significant tornado parameter. This is indications of ingredients for strong tornadoes. This is the dew point. So you can see we have moisture pooling here and starting to develop and pool up. And then the low level jet here is starting to get strong as well. And we would kind of watch the quadrants probably in through here and kind of in through here for, lifting, for the best mechanisms of lift to arise. So again, just watching the model. Here's the next frame coming in frame by frame. There's the next one. And again, you can kind of see those developing cells there in Illinois. See those? That's the area to watch for the tornado potential. And they're not
frozen again, Michael,
Oh, good.
based off of comments here.
Can you see me?
It looks fine on my end.
Can you not see my screen?
I
They're
can.
saying
I see it.
They're saying they can't.
I'm frustrated.
Let me take.
How about now? Can you guys see my screen now? Anything? Anyone? Bueller? Anything?
They're not saying anything, so I'm gonna assume all good. They said all good. Yep. Somebody said all good.
Okay. Apologize, guys. It's it frankly pisses me off. So I will next stream will not be using Google Chrome. If a slew of you could let Google know that Chrome sucks, I would appreciate that. Flood them with suck. Anyways. So again, we're just, for those of you that can see, we're just watching the HRRR model come in, and seeing what it's going to do with the threat here overall. Brett, if you would, just for a couple more frames, I'm going to turn screen share off.
Yep.
If you would, what I would like to do is have you screen share HRRR, but overlay the SPC tornado forecast and see how it's comparing to that, to give us possibly some indication of what this update will do from them at 9 a.m.
Let's see.
Punch the screen. I would if I didn't just drop a couple
Michael,
$1,000 into my screens.
It's not letting me.
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay,
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Well, I was doing the same analysis you were. I think we were about in the same spot there. So
Okay.
that's good. Yeah. We'll look at the sim here, and we will overlay the Storm Prediction Center outlook for today. So you can see where theirs is right now. Where Michael and I were kind of drawing as this came in was more of this type of an area, based off of where things can clear out a little bit, where those dew points are the highest, where the low level jet is, and that significant tornado parameter. And I think the issue in this moderate risk area right now is there's basically, at least on this particular run of the model, there's basically no window at all. Especially Decatur and points north and east. Maybe the west side of it has a little bit of a break, but there's just not much of a break. Where there's a little bit more of a gap is in this area. You can see the first wave move through, and then you have at least a couple of hours to recover a little bit. And I think that's ultimately why we believe that the risk is that they are going to bring that further down to the south. It doesn't mean that there's no risk at all in those areas. There's certainly still going to be storms that you can see, and there's plenty of wind shear, a ton of wind energy with this system, but just from the influence of this first wave alone, and I think we go back to last week too. This very, very similar setup happened last week where an AM cluster went through and the PM storms were still certainly severe. There were several tornadoes, an EF3 tornado up in northwest Indiana, but instead of it being southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois, it was more so into central Illinois and northern Indiana. And so it shifted 100 miles south or so. And I think that what we're talking about here is just that same type of risk happening today.
Brett, look at the helicity tracks. I mean, it's the area you just circled. It's still more hours run, but it's bullseyeing that area you just circled.
Yeah. I should stop deleting the circle.
Keep the circle.
and again, to your point earlier, Matt, there's still these helicity tracks can sometimes give a good representation of rotating storms. There are still some further to the north. You can see that in the moderate risk area, Kokomo and up towards Kankakee even, and just south of Aurora. But your highest clustering of those helicity tracks are a little bit further south compared to where that risk is. So that's not to say that there's no tornado risk at all further to the north. It's just maybe your better chance for stronger tornadoes and more widespread tornadic activity would be a little bit further south than where the current moderate risk is.
I mean, gosh, Brett, at 9 p.m. on this latest run, the future radar has straight up supercells just west of Indy.
Yeah.
Sups?
You can see it. You can almost see the hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you can. Look at what this run is doing. You can see the hooks on each of these. Even arguably this one in here. And you continue to go Terre Haute, just west of Danville, Crawfordsville here. So there's no doubt the model is seeing a lot of supercell activity, a lot of rotation with these storms, especially along I-70, along and west of Indy as we work towards 9 p.m. this evening.
You know what they are? They're hookers.
Mm-hmm.
I called them one.
Here we go.
Michael, it's too early in the day for that.
Google Chrome has straight pissed me off. I'm just going to be honest with you. It is just, and I just don't care who knows it. I'm sure half the team is going, "Oh my God, Michael, calm down. Don't say that." Listen, don't talk to me. Don't come at me today. Don't even think
Michael,
about it.
I think we've gone through every possible oopsie on a live stream.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Gosh, snow,
sure.
severe weather, and all of it.
Yeah. Shut up and take my money, man. I'll tell you. David, that's funny. Well, yeah, I think what we've illustrated here, we've done our part, and Brett, it generally, is that new?
I think this is new. I think it just came in.
What in the world?
Okay. Well, they did
Okay, so
bring it south.
what's the tornado threat?
This is tornado. This is tornado.
No, that's not tornado.
Oh, it's hail. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Come on, man.
I see.
Okay, so it's not new.
It's not new.
Okay,
Yes,
sorry.
just
I was like,
said-
what in the world?
I thought I
did-
clicked on tornado and I was
happened?
like, okay, good. They brought it south. We're
Yeah,
no.
yeah, no.
Yeah, the tornado threat's still there.
So generally, Brett, in the area you've circled where we think the SPC could adjust south, the main wave tonight, what is the rough idea of timing in your opinion in the area that you've circled? All right, let's put it that way.
I'll look through here generally.
Yeah, generally for the best tornado risk and the most intense storms tonight, general timing in that window.
6, 7, 8, 9, So you're looking at 6, the northern portion of this box, for things to start to ramp up. I mean, for the Indy area, it's probably what, 8 to 11 p.m. or so.
Okay. Yep.
8 to 11.
Yep.
So let's call it through here.
There is a new MD, Brett, just FYI, for Illinois and Western Indiana, 95% probability of a severe thunderstorm watch. With the forward progression of this particular cluster here just came out. So there it is.
There is a destructive thunderstorm warning on this heading towards Davenport right now to 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
That's nasty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with this area at all. I think that if you're in that corridor, you're very likely going to get 70+ mile-per-hour winds as this barrels towards you over the next couple of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty looking on the radar.
Again, you know, last week's cluster was classified, I believe, guys, as a derecho. I mean, this thing started up in northern Iowa, so could be looking at another one here. Here's 11 p.m. Still, this particular run, I would imagine, based off of how long it keeps storms around, is probably going to have some flooding. This is out through 11 p.m. It's got 3.5 inches of rain just west of the border. Latest MD. They're also in this MD. I'm going to go back here. Jake just sent me a message. They also talking about tornadoes being possible and potentially even significant tornadoes with this, according to their MD. Most probable peak tornado intensity 140 to 170 mile per hour. Most probable peak wind gusts is 65 to 80. 2 to 3.5 inch diameter peak hail with this. So they're definitely.
To me, that sounds like a PDS, severe thunderstorm watch.
It very well could be.
They're rare, but they do happen. That's interesting. I mean, this at that rate, Brett, this is a derecho. That's a derecho coming through. I don't. It's possible a lot of folks are going to get 2 rounds of intense weather if that's the case, because this thing it's barreling south.
It is barreling south, and it's moving fast at this point.
What's that have to be a derecho? Is it 200, 250 miles? Something like that?
Yeah, 250.
So it's already gone 150. Right.
It's always eastern Iowa.
Seems to be.
You can start to see the rear inflow jet here.
Oh yeah, yep.
See how it's clearing out in here, and you're starting to get this bow. This thing is probably going to barrel through Davenport and Burlington and Galesburg with 70 to 80+ mile per hour winds. So if you were in over the next 1 to 2 hours, if you were in this corridor here, I mean, you're going to be dealing with destructive winds.
Yep.
Let's see the end of this HRRR run here. West of India, 2.5, 3 inches of rain. Midnights. This is around midnight. Let's look at the significant tornado parameter here. Shoo-wee.
Yeah, it's off the charts, Brett.
Bloomington, Columbus. Interesting. Outright immediately ahead of the front, as those dew points pull, you actually here on this particular run have 1,200 surface-based cape, 1,600 mixed layer cape. with 54 knots of surface to 1 kilometer shear. That certainly would still be a tornado threat for Bloomington and Columbus by 12 to 1 a.m. And probably all the way through southern Indiana. And that's the end of the run. So that ends at about 1 a.m., guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, with that in mind, let's pause here. We've been live for an hour. Let's pause. Let's let this cluster get through Illinois for a couple of hours. Let's see new data come in, and preliminarily, let's assume we're probably going to come back live around, give or take, 11 a.m. to maybe 11 to noon, somewhere in there, to watch this cluster move through if it's going to keep doing what it's trying to do. Several folks may see 2 waves of severe weather tonight, the initial cluster and then the backside risk of supercells. Talk about a rare setup, but it is a rare setup.
Yeah.
We are in record territory with strength of the low and the upper level winds. So let's pause. Preliminarily 11ish noon return for live today. We'll keep folks posted. 11 a.m. Eastern time, give or take. Updates will continue to flow in rapidly through the BAM application, BAM weather platforms. If you don't have it, click on the link in the comments to get it, to sign up. Videos, nowcasts, forecast insights, alerts, watches, and warnings all will come there much faster than they will here if we're not live. So thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel, follow the Facebook page, make sure you hit that follow button, and we'll be back here in a couple hours.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Thank you.